Okay, let's talk about something we all do every single day, usually without even thinking about it. Eating. But what if I told you that a simple meal isn't just about fuel? What if it's actually the hidden key to, well, reconnecting our entire world?
All right, look at this number, 90,000. Any idea what that represents? Well, get this. That's about how many meals you'll eat in your lifetime. 90,000. That's 90,000 chances to experience something new, to learn something, to connect with someone. I mean, when you think about it, that's just a staggering amount of opportunity, right?
And that brings us to the big question, the really crucial one. Out of all those 90,000 meals, how many do we truly share? You know, as a real experience, not just consumption. Think about it. How many are scarfed down at a desk or in the car or just alone in front of a screen? That's really the heart of the problem we're digging into here.
So, this huge number, it really represents this massive untapped potential. It's like we're handed 90,000 invitations to connect with other people, and most of the time, we turn them down without even realizing we're doing it.
And this right here, this contrast just nails it. For way too many of us, a meal has become this private, isolated thing you eat at your desk, in your car, maybe in total silence. But what if? What if it could be a shared journey? A way to hear a story, to build a bridge, to make a real connection. We're talking about shifting from a mindless routine to a truly meaningful experience. You know, this whole philosophy is rooted in a really deep, human-centric idea. This verse from the Quran just captures the spirit of this project so perfectly. It's this beautiful reminder that all our differences, our nations, our tribes, they're not a mistake. It's a feature, not a bug. They exist for a reason, so that we can get to know one another. And honestly, what's a more universal way to do that than sharing a meal?
So the big question is, how do we actually bridge that gap? How do we go from isolated eating to real connection? Well, the mission here proposes a kind of cure for modern loneliness, and the primary tool is food.
And it all starts with some really simple, practical steps. Just imagine, community tables start popping up all over your city. Or what if we had a culture of neighbor nights, where inviting a newcomer over for dinner was just the normal thing to do? And this one's my favorite, story suppers. This is where the meal isn't just served, it's explained. You get the history, the culture, the real heart behind the food you're about to eat. How cool is that?
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting, because this project doesn't just look to the past, it totally embraces the future. But it asks this fascinating question. What if, instead of letting AI isolate us even more, we could teach machines the very human art of hospitality?
So what does that actually look like? Well, picture a digital companion, an AI, that can cook traditional recipes from literally anywhere in the world. And as it cooks, it shares the history and the culture behind the dish. It could even help translate, so you can have conversations across languages. And get this, it could create virtual shared dining rooms to connect people thousands of miles apart.
All right, so we've talked about the social mission, right? But this project, it goes way further. It's actually proposing a completely new economic model, an economy of connection built not on money, but on sharing food. At the heart of this whole thing is something called the brand currency system. Now, in this economy, the very idea of value gets completely redefined. It's not about profit margins. It's not about transactions. No. Instead, real value gets created every single time a human connection is made, or a culture is shared, or someone new decides to participate.
I mean, it's a total paradigm shift. Think about it. The old model is all about profit. The unit is the dollar, and the goal is just consumption. This new model, it flips that entire thing on its head. Here, value is the connection. The unit of exchange isn't a dollar, it's a shared meal. And the goal isn't to consume, it's to participate.
So what does this new economy actually look like in the real world? Well, it starts by completely shaking up one of our most established institutions, the restaurant.
So just let this question sink in for a second. It sounds kind of impossible, doesn't it? I mean, a restaurant is defined by its kitchen. But in this new system, the entire model gets turned completely on its head.
And the answer is just brilliant. Restaurants stop being about food prep and start being about human connection. They transform into these beautifully designed dining hubs. Think of them as stages for conversation, for tasting, for cultural exchange. And they can do all this without a massive, expensive kitchen out back.
See, the whole system is decentralized. It starts with farmers and fresh ingredients. Then the food is actually prepared by a whole network of people, Home cooks, community cooks. Delivery partners bring these amazing meals to the dining hubs, where the final value-creating piece of the puzzle happens, the shared experience. Everybody in this chain, from the farmer to the diner, becomes a participant in this new economy.
So let's pull all these threads together for a second. This is so much bigger than just a new way to eat. This is about building a new layer of civilization on top of its oldest, most fundamental social technology, sharing food.
And here's where technology comes back in, but in a really cool way, to enhance the human experience. You'd have AI chefs learning from this massive global database of recipes to help us innovate and create new things. You could have taste graphs that literally map how culture is moving and mixing through food around the world. And something called preference intelligence could give us a gentle nudge, to get out of our comfort zones and try something new, always pushing us to keep exploring.
And what's so amazing about all this is that this super futuristic idea is actually rooted in our most ancient past. Food was the first currency humanity ever had. It's how we built trust, how we created communities long before money was even a thing. So this is really about returning to that original foundation to build a new, much more human economic layer for our future.
At the end of the day, the message is really simple. A meal shouldn't just be a transaction, money for calories. It should be a transformation. A transformation of simple ingredients into an amazing dish, a transformation of strangers into friends, and a transformation of isolation into a real community.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If every plate really does tell a story, then this whole system is basically handing us the pen. The only question left is, what story will we choose to write together?